Our initial goal was to reduce the greenhouse gas emissions resulting from campus activities through specific programs like the retrofit that I mentioned, the behavior change program that I mentioned. And our second was to really engage with the policies and procedures on campus. And I'd say that's where we are now. So the departmental engagement work really is looking at developing policies at the department level that are going to result in long-term changes. Similarly, we're looking at the environmental protection policy for the university as a whole. And we're trying to become involved in the decision-making procedure. So if there are decisions about expenditures of large amounts of money for renovations or new buildings, we're hoping that in the future those decisions will really take into account sustainability factors. But faculty have recently come to us in the past year, particularly in medical sciences, and asked us to help them to develop departmental sustainability plans that will allow their departments to become more sustainable in their activities. So we've worked with them to help them to set priorities for changes in their operations that can save them money, that can make them feel that they're moving ahead on a path towards sustainability. And our sustainability fund has helped to subsidize some of the retrofits and technical changes that they've wanted to make that will result in resource conservation.
You know, when I look back on it, I think we were extremely ambitious in thinking that we were going to help this community reduce their energy use by 25% in a matter of 12 months. From what I understand now, it takes somewhere in the neighborhood of, maybe 5 years to do that. However, what has evolved from this is we have a group called the Topham Eco Team who evolved out of the community project, and they are still actively working together and working on what I understand is a solar project here in the community. So they're trying to encourage some neighbors here to get together and hopefully come up with a community project to install solar.
We worked within the municipalities on things like incorporating TDM, so it's transportation demand management, the ideas of promoting alternatives to driving alone, trying to incorporate those into the site plan approvals process or the development applications process, and regularly meet with counselors and staff to communicate our ideas and get feedback from them. How can further north, say, of Bloor become more transit and pedestrian friendly? You're trying to make walkable communities. It's placemaking.
Our challenge for the future is by 2012 we want at least 10% of faith communities across the country to be greening their buildings so that they can be the spark plug for the other faith communities, the 30,000 faith communities in Canada, to have greened their buildings. We think there's a tipping point that if we can have good examples in every community, then all the other communities will feel the pressure to green their buildings as well.
And our final goal is to really achieve a culture of sustainability here on the University of Toronto campus, and that's much broader reaching. So that's not just the policies, the procedures, the projects, but it's really the mindset of the people here on campus. It's a longer term goal. So we don't have a lot of work to do in terms of changing people's attitudes. It's the disconnect between those attitudes and how those attitudes play out in terms of people's behavior that is really where we see our work having to take place.